His playbook for it was taking down Harvard. We'll talk about all of that and update you. And of course, the context, we've got the U.S. Army playing into Donald Trump's hands, and they're going to be doing a giant show of force in Washington on Donald Trump's birthday, of all things. Did I wake up in a fascist totalitarian regime? What is happening there? And then we've got the tariff issue. Once again, Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico demonstrating that she knows how to eat Donald Trump's lunch right in front of him, because she just won the tariff war, the steel tariff war, just like she did before, because she figured out taco, no pun intended, in Mexico before Donald Trump, other adversaries did. The Financial Times might have written about taco, but I think Sheinbaum invented it, with Trump always chickens out, knowing that she knows how to play Donald Trump like a fiddle. And now there's no more steel tariffs in Mexico, because they pointed out a simple little fact to the Commerce Secretary for Donald Trump, the perma-smile Howard Lutnick, always smiling, always, hi, I'm doing great, aren't I? No, you're not. There's supposed to be 90 trade deals because countries were going to be brought to their knees and kissing Donald Trump's backside, his tuchus, that's a legal term, because he was threatening them and saber rattling over tariffs. And how many now in the 150th day? Not one. Maybe one coming in China, maybe one coming with Mexico, maybe. We'll talk about it and break it down. And the markets are reacting because they're looking for any good news, any silver lining they can find to trade on. Scott Bessent may be pushed into the Federal Reserve chairman position from the Treasury Secretary. That's good. But that's not good. First of all, Jay Powell's doing a great job. He's the only thing that connects the United States to its economy, the economy to the world economy. The only thing that keeps us connected to planet Earth is Jay Powell. We don't want him to leave any sooner than possible. And if he's going to leave in May of 2026, who's going to take over at Treasury? Don't tell me the Commerce Secretary. He's doing such a terrible job in that role. We're going to kick him upstairs and have him fail up into Treasury to put his money on to put his John Hancock on the money. Heaven help us. So I want to put all of this together on this issue of the intersection. Thanks for being here. We started this as Popok Live. It was sort of an irregular show every other Tuesday I would do. And then we just said, you know what? Let's make it a full-blown podcast. Let's call it The Intersection. I've been living at the intersection of law and politics my whole life, let alone the last 5 years as a co-founder of Legal AF. And there's an audience here that I adore, that's been with me from the very beginning over the last 6 months since we've been growing. We get 300, 400, 500,000 people to watch the video. We get tens of thousands to participate in the actual recording and the live of the video of the podcast. So we said, now it's time. It's time. We got Legal AF, the YouTube channel. We got Legal AF, the Substack. And now it's time for Popok Intersection. So I can just be no holds barred. I can throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at every topic I cover. Let's get into California. How did this all start? January. See how far back it seems. June the 6th, only a handful of days ago. Donald Trump, on purpose, without coordinating with the state of California, brought ICE in to go after Home Depot and a clothing manufacturer to try to scare the crap out of people in a deportation raid. Not coordinated with local law enforcement, not told to this California governor. They just send the federal bootjack troops in. And then, invariably, when Californians got uncomfortable with that and decided to protest in the streets, Donald Trump used that as a manufactured excuse to try to crush dissent and resistance. Now, the last time I looked at the Constitution, I have the right to both petition the government for a redress of grievances, to peaceably assemble, and to voice my First Amendment expression. Do I have the right to riot? No. Do I have the right to burn down the city? No. Do I have the right to murder and kill? No. Is that going on in California? No. Whatever's going on in California, had it been properly coordinated by the Trump administration in advance, which of course they never were going to do, then it would have gone fine, right? But there is a long body of case law that I've outlined on Legal AF that does not allow the feds to force the state into participating in federal programs, to allow them to commandeer. There's actually anti-commandeering law to stop the feds from commandeering and take over the National Guard. The National Guard is a state guard under the control of the governor. It can only be federalized under certain limited circumstances. There's a statute that Congress created, and there's the Insurrection Act. Take Insurrection Act off the board. Donald Trump did not invoke it, and I don't think he will. Even though he's getting close, he's using the words of insurrection, but he's not invoked it. He said, if they spit, we're going to shoot. No, he said, if they spit, we're going to hit. If they loot, we're going to shoot. It's not a perverse Dr. Seuss book. It's the president of the United States talking about using excessive force and the military against his own citizenry. If we had a Congress with half a brain cell and a pair of brass ones, he'd already be impeached. There'd be articles of impeachment already for what's happening in California to try to tear asunder our United States. What else can you call the full weight of the federal government being used against one state? Sure, it's a huge state. It's also important to our economy and the world economy. It represents the 5th largest economy in the United States. Gavin Newsom, the governor, is a chief political rival of Donald Trump. He's likely top 3, top 2, top 1 for president of the United States come 2028. And they went after Gavin Newsom on purpose to try to take him down. They said, we're going to arrest him. I mean, literally, Tom Homan, the czar of the border, said that if he'll arrest any federal official, even the governor. And then Donald Trump on the lawn 3 days ago, it's hard to believe, 3 days ago on the White House lawn, getting in or out of the helicopter, said, yes, he should. He wants to be arrested. We should arrest him. This administration has already, as a show of force to try to chill dissent and rebellion or resistance, has already indicted a state court judge, a elected official from New Jersey. So what's to stop him? Next up, a governor. And that matters because once you cross that line, all-out civil war could result. Yeah. The thing that brought this country together with Abraham Lincoln and Reconstruction is under a pressure right now that I've never seen in my lifetime. Internal pressure. Sure, I read about the civil rights movement, and I'm a student of it, and I understand that also had the chance of pulling it together, but you had a president in the White House, whether you started with JFK, and then whether you went with RFK, his attorney general, and then Lyndon Johnson, that held the country together, that used the National Guard in the right way to support the civil rights movement, to support Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Not to pour kerosene on the flames, have it tip over, and then send in the federal troops and violate the Posse Comitatus Act, which prevents a president, but only if enforced properly by the United States Supreme Court, from using the weight of the power of the U.S. military internally against its own people. Have we reached that stage yet? Part of that story is being told right now in the courtroom of Charles Breyer. Charles Breyer, you may remember the name, his brother, Stephen Breyer, on the United States Supreme Court, not only on the United States Supreme Court, but came out in the last several months against Donald Trump in his own polite, diplomatic way, but clearly against Donald Trump's assault on the federal judiciary and on the rule of law, and to support the statements of Chief Justice Roberts against Donald Trump, telling him to stop calling for impeachment of federal judges, but ask for their appeal at best. So that family is now in the spotlight. 83-year-old Charles Breyer. 22-page complaint filed, elegant in its pithiness. It's just straight to the point. Many attorneys general, not named Rob Bonta, would bring 100 pages of fluff, but no, 22 pages. And used all of Donald Trump's own words against him, his own social media posts, those of Pete Hegseth, bring it all into the case and seek an emergency temporary restraining order on an ex parte basis, meaning they only get to speak, they only get to file, and the other side will have to answer for it later. Now, that's the breaking news coming onto the air tonight on The Intersection. Judge Breyer has listened to both sides. The California side, who wants an immediate temporary restraining order, I'd really would call it an administrative stay, temporary. And the Trump administration saying, give us one more